Hello and welcome to a futuristic seismic cinema podcast. So put your feet up on the sofa, grab the TV remote, and prepare to stare at the Black Mirror for the next hour and 30 minutes, because that's how long some of the Black Mirror episodes are. When I lied to Paul.
I know. Told me it was going to be 30 minutes to 40 minutes. Anyway, yeah, so we're doing Black Mirror, the super happy, super fun dystopian TV series. And yeah, with us today is James from what you might remember as our super popular Shutter Island podcast episode.
Yeah,
nice to see you, James.
Yeah, it's good to be back on, guys. Thanks very much.
We're also joined by Mando, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. He just decided to plug himself right beside the PC and scratch at it.
We'll just let it merge in with what we're doing.
Yeah. Sorry, they're just happy that there's people talking. It's all good. So anyway, continue.
So yeah, James, it's good to have you back on. We've been talking about this one for quite a while now, to be honest. I can't remember. Was it during the last one we mentioned Black Mirror?
Yeah, I think we went off on a tangent and we just started talking about Black Mirror, and then from there, I think we just kind of said, let's do an episode ranking. So
yeah,
and here we are.
Yeah, there was no particular reason for this one. There is a season 6 coming out at some point, but not in the near future. But we thought we would do it. So before we get into the Black Mirror of it all, and me and James have got on our black t-shirts, and Paul's got on his grey t-shirt, and we would do our introduction segment of what are we watching. So James, you were mentioning in the pre-chat that you had been watching a few things recently.
Yeah, so I finished Mandalorian. I kept all the kind of Star Wars stuff at the back burner, and eventually got round to watching Mando 1 and 2 and Boba Fett as well, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Looking forward to Mando 3 coming out in March, which is, I think, going to be quite good. I did think watching Boba Fett, it turned into The Mandalorian 2.5. I don't know what you guys thought about that.
There were good episodes, but yeah.
No, they were brilliant.
Basically, you got 5 episodes of Boba Fett in the end.
Yeah, no. I've been maybe slightly harsh on it, I think, but it was still good episodes and good TV. I was saying to you off air that I think Boba Fett started off quite slow, but it kind of got to the very end. It was really good, what I mean? So I'm definitely looking forward to the new season of Mando, and Andor. I've started to watch that, but only first episode into that. And over the weekend there, when I was ill, I managed to catch up with Knives Out and A Glass Onion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I hadn't seen them before. I hadn't heard of the films before until I seen them on Netflix.
What was your thoughts?
Okay, well, I thought Knives Out was better than Glass Onion, and I don't know about Glass Onion, to be honest with you. I thought it had potential, but it just kind of went on and on a bit. I think it was far too long. I haven't listened to your review yet of that, so I'm going to go and listen to that as well. But I don't know what you guys thought of it. But Knives Out was good, but The Glass Onion, I thought it had a good cast, it had kind of a good build up. But then watching it, I think it was just maybe a bit, I don't know, it just came to repeat itself and then have plots that were, I don't know. I think I didn't really like it as much as I thought I would have, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Well, I think it was more flashy. It's more flashy, not a lot of substance to it, I thought.
Aye.
Sorry, I'm just opening a window because it's roasting this place.
Like I said, I didn't have a clue about this film at all, or the first one. I'm like, when I seen it advertised, I thought to myself, what is Daniel Craig's accent? What is that all about? And it just got strange anyway, and just listen to him. But I thought the first one was great, but the second one, I don't think it was that good. And plus, Kate Hudson really annoyed me.
I said that.
I quite liked her. I thought she was the only funny one in there.
Trust us to rank the worst of the two films. Review the worst of the two films.
I don't know. I just think that there's characters in that film, Glass Onion I'm talking about here, were pointless. They were just there to be there. Didn't have many lines. They were just kind of there, And
Yeah.
that scientist stood for. I mean, like he was in it. I thought you had a big part to play, but no, you didn't really say much at all.
Yeah, him and Catherine Hahn, they didn't really do anything at all in it, really.
No, that's right. Aye. Who else was in that? Ed Norton was good. I thought he was good in it.
Drax.
Batista, aye. Batista. I don't know.
Hugh Grant.
Oh, that's right. Hugh Grant. And there was also a few cameos in that one. What's her name? In the what do you call it? The Zoom call or something? Was it? Murder She Wrote person. What's her name?
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, she was in that. I was like, oh, that's Angela Lansbury. Hugh Grant is in there as well. He was the partner, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a wee bit better, but it just wasn't. And I think there's a third one coming out because I read that somewhere on Twitter. I think. I don't know.
I think that is. Oh well. So Star Wars and the Nice Out universe. Anything else you been checking out?
Well, of course, I've been rewatching Black Mirror. All 22 episodes plus Bandersnatch. So it was enjoying. I mean, I hadn't seen the episodes for a while, to be fair. So when I went back and watched them, I think I said to you I forgot how good some of them were, and that kind of proves because the ranking I thought was difficult. But we'll come on to that.
The ones I wanted to put in my top 10 that I didn't have time to rewatch, I actually just read like kind of summaries of the episode just to because I knew I liked it at the time, but it was just to remind myself of the details. What about yourself, Paul? What have you been checking out?
Well, I've been forced to binge Black Mirror since I hadn't seen any of it at all before this.
You were forced.
Oh, I wanted to make an appearance tonight. I had to.
Well, we were originally doing it without you, so you weren't really forced.
Yeah, true. So yeah, been watching Black Mirror and binging that all week. And last night I watched The Menu.
Is that good?
Disney Plus. I actually quite enjoyed it. I watched it with Scarlett. Scarlett wasn't. I think you were too enamoured with it, were you? No, not really. Yeah, it's got a couple of good actors in it. Nicholas Hoult. What's her face? Anna. I can't remember what her name is. Anna something or other. But yeah, it was actually I found it quite funny. There's quite a lot of like dark humour in it, and it takes quite a good turn. So I quite enjoyed it.
I'd actually added it to my Disney Plus watch list before you posted about it.
Yeah, I think it's been quite positive online about it as well. A lot of things I've seen people that have kind of like it's like a total extreme. They either love it or they really, really hate it. So I'm kind of one of those ones that I actually really quite liked it. And then watched a couple of movies the night before because I'm on holiday, so I've got time to watch movies now. And this was Scarlett's picks. So watched a movie called Abandoned with Emma Roberts. It's kind of like a haunted house / kind of psychological kind of horror, but wasn't really my cup of tea. It wasn't like there wasn't many scares in it or anything. It was kind of a bit bland. The actual, I think the scariest part was I think Scarlett hit her hand off the couch and I nearly cacked myself. And then we watched a Jet Li movie called Unleashed. I think it's like set in Glasgow, but it's like all kind of English actors in it. But it's quite a good movie. Lots of action and good wee story as well. What's his face? Morgan Freeman's in it. Bob Hoskins is in it. Jet Li. But yeah, that was kind of three main movies I watched, and also The Bad Batch.
The Pale Blue Eye.
The Pale Blue Eye as well. Yeah. Did you watch it eventually, Colin?
I've not watched it yet. I'll maybe catch it at some point.
No.
Is that
it was okay.
Christian Bale?
Yeah.
It's like a murder mystery type thing, is that?
Yeah. It's weird. It's not weird. It's very slow. It's a very slow burn.
Right.
It's worth a watch if you're looking for something to kill 3 hours of your life.
Right, 3 hours. So
Oh, I think it's 2 hours and something.
another Batman. Jeez, oh.
What about you, Colin? What have you been watching?
Watched the new episode of Bad Batch last night. As you said, it was quite good. A few familiar faces came back. James, by the way, there is a bit of a stigma to it, but the Star Wars animated, I'm not going to go into details, we're going for hours, but the Star Wars animated shows are pretty good.
I haven't seen any of them, so
really
try
good
and-
in place. Really good in places. Me and Alien started watching a show on Netflix called Lock and Key. It's a kind of magic thing set in this kind of magical house. It doesn't sound very good, but it's actually pretty decent.
Is this the Harry Potter in you coming in?
Yeah. I started watching Outer Banks, which is about kind of treasure hunt sort of thing. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a lovely noise, Paul.
Sorry, it's my dogs deciding to try and bite each other's faces off here.
And I was rewatching Andor actually because Jordan, Alien Toy for James's sake, he hadn't seen it, so I've watched the first 5 episodes of that.
Nice. Is that all you've been watching?
Yeah, a few things to go. My guilty pleasure show, I finished Emily in Paris. That show is fantastic. Not even joking.
Oh, you're talking about a classic, weren't you?
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty good.
That show, what's that one?
It's Netflix. Basically, a marketing executive. She goes to live in Paris, and then it's all about her life there, but also she's working in marketing, so it's very business focused, which I like. And you get to see a lot of Paris, which is cool as well. So I thought before we get into the ranking itself, we could just kind of talk about how we got here. So we know how Paul got here. We were doing a ranking, and Paul was bullied into watching it. So James, just interested to see when and how you got into Black Mirror and kind of how you viewed it.
Well, initially when Black Mirror was on TV, it was on Channel 4, but I didn't get into it till a way later, it seems, because Netflix bought it over, or had the rights to it essentially, and it wasn't until it was on Netflix advertised that I went on and watched it. And what kind of grasped it for me was because it's technology. You know, I'm kind of a computer science background, and having technology for me was just obviously stuff that I had a day anyway. But I watched it on Netflix. I think it's like season 2. Maybe is it season 2? Must have been. Don't think it's season 3. Anyway, and it was hooked. I think from the first episode, it was quite a good episode, and it hooked you in to other weird and wonderful ways of Black Mirror. But it was I didn't watch it from the very beginning till it was on Channel 4 or that. I know some people did. I don't know if you did, Colin, or not, but I was maybe a wee bit later to the Black Mirror game.
I was even later than you. So my friend Callum, I went to stay at his when he was staying in Stranraer, and he was like, right, you need to watch this, and he put San Junipero on. And I watched that, and then having watched that, I was like, right, I'm going to give this show a go. So I watched the national anthem, and like a lot of people, I was a bit like, what happened there? And then I didn't really go back to it. And then I don't know if it was like a year later, a couple of years later, I don't know what the time frame was, but I was like, right, I'll give it another shot. And then that's when I got really into it, and I watched it all. And so I think the first 4 seasons were out when I watched it, and then I maybe watched the 5th season when it came out. So yeah, that was my timeline.
Aye.
So a couple of false starts.
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to watch the next one after that because I liked the way it was all kind of structured, and yeah, I think it was probably just season 2 I started to get into it. It could be a wee bit later, I don't know for sure, but it wasn't that long after. It was on Netflix. You know what Netflix is like? It has on the advertisements right away. You see a trailer of it, and it's this looks good. Do you know what I mean? And I like dystopian stuff anyway, so
yeah,
it hooked me right away.
Cool. Right, I picked out. I don't know. Paul's went silent.
Good reason, because my dogs are going mental there. Sorry.
I picked out just a couple of things. Last week when we did Glass Onion, I did a wee bit of, it's not really in-depth research. I was looking at the Wikipedia article, but despite its flaws, Wikipedia has a lot of information. So I picked out a few things. James, if you've got anything extra, or Paul, if there's anything you know of that you want to throw in there.
Well, I didn't really go into like trivia and stuff, but like obviously I don't know as much as these guys kind of going through it all, but like I noticed just a lot of kind of like Easter eggs through different episodes from the episodes I was watching, but I'm assuming we can just kind of go through that when we see episodes, when we talk about the episodes and stuff.
Yeah. So just a couple of things. Obviously, James was talking about how it was originally Channel 4. So 2011 to 2014, it ran on Channel 4, and then Netflix from 2016 to now. It was inspired by the Twilight Zone originally. I found quite a good quote from Charlie Brooker, the creator. So it says, "The black mirror of the title is the one you'll find on every wall, every desk, in the palm of every hand, the cold, shiny screen of a TV, monitor, or smartphone." So that was a wee quote about the kind of the origins of the name. Do you know the episode Men Against Fire?
Yes.
Apparently, it came from like the original script for an episode called Inbound, which was meant to be the second episode of the show. So it was kind of repurposed for that. I didn't realize this one, that White Christmas was originally a special episode.
Yeah,
It wasn't actually part of episode 3.
You go through it, you kind of see which ones were classed as, or maybe originally meant to be special episodes because of duration time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I'll go through that when I rank them. But it's White Christmas was an episode to think.
So a couple more things I just thought were quite interesting. The entire history of you, Robert Downey Jr. wanted to turn that into a movie, but it didn't get off the ground.
All right.
I like this one. The national anthem got 145 Ofcom complaints when it aired.
Wonder why.
2 more things I thought were quite cool before we get into it. Apparently, there's a nosedive board game.
All right.
And the coolest bit yet, there's a book called Inside Black Mirror that goes kind of behind the scenes with all the episodes. £15 on Amazon. I think I might purchase it.
I think I might as well. See, when you went back, you said that it was based on the Twilight Zone. That's interesting because there's an episode that we might even talk about it, but it kind of reflects the Twilight Zone in that kind of the way it tells stories. So we'll maybe come across that episode at some point.
Cool. Sure we will. So we'll get into it then. Paul, you're going to join us for number 5 then?
Sure, yes. 2 seconds. And you go first, I'll go last because I'm not really prepped for this.
Well, we're going to do 10, I think, and then you'll jump in at 5. Is that right?
Sounds good to me, bro. Sounds good to me.
This is your biggest disaster yet.
Mate, it's just everything's going wrong tonight. Don't ask.
Okay. Right, James, guess goes first. Let's have the imaginary drum roll. And what's your number 10? I've been looking forward to hearing the list.
Right, so my number 10 in the list, I've ranked them all out of 10 as well as I go through them all. My number 10 was a Black Museum, and I gave that 7 out of 10.
Okay. I've not ranked them. I've not rated them.
Nice.
I feel like I had to rate them to then move them within the list. So,
okay, fair enough. Cool. So what was your thinking with that in 10th then?
Well, I felt it had a good story behind it. I mean, it would have been higher on the list, but the other ones just were better in my opinion. And this was the episode I felt like it had kind of the Twilight Zone elements to it. It's like Tales of the Crypt type of thing, where it had the lassie going into the museum, and in the museum they had the Easter eggs in there. So it had like stuff from the episode of USS Callister in there. It had the the wee fridge. It had all the stuff about the DNA, and there was loads of Easter eggs in there. And even when
they
he
had
was
the
telling
killer from White Bear, didn't they?
yeah, that's right. They had that as well. So the museum had its own wee story about the stuff that we had seen, so it's kind of it was giving us a history as well at the same time. But in between that, he was like the curator person was given the other stories in between that about his encounters with technology and how he ended up there essentially. I found that good. And every wee story had its kind of own wee twist at the end of it, and that's why I kind of felt like it is a wee Twilight Zone part of it. It was really good. And the wee, as is all Black Mirror episodes, it had a wee twist at the end you didn't really see happen. Then it had another twist within that, which I thought was good. And I don't know. I kind of don't want to say too much because the Black Museum might be higher in your list. And I don't want to ruin what you've got to say about it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how, but I mean, it was a good episode. I don't know what else to say without trying to ruin your guys' ranking.
We could just do a light touch, like the first person that mentions one, do a light touch, and then we can have like a discussion about it if it was to come up again. Do you know what I mean?
Right, okay, that's enough. So I won't go into too much then.
James, what was your favourite kind of wee mini story at the Black Museum? Was it the doctor, the teddy bear, or the execution?
I think the doctor, the first one, the doctor. I thought the execution one was well. I thought that was a bit, I don't know, sinister.
That was my favourite.
The bear one I thought was interesting as well, but I think the first one was a bit longer, and you got a wee bit more detail into that one. And I just felt that you were hooked with it. I think you maybe don't know, you were kind of feeling sorry for, not feeling sorry for the person, but I think you were just a lot more along with the story. And you can see that the doctor was obviously hooked on the drug, if you like, with that.
He was like sensing their pain, wasn't he, and getting like a thrill into it.
So he kind of it wasn't pain, it was just the sensations that he was feeling. So it was good or bad. And then he had that implant, I think he had, and then the person here wanted to try and diagnose, because that's what initially it was for. He gave it to put a wee kind of cap on their heads, and he felt whatever they were feeling, like it was, a good sensation or a bad sensation. So I thought that was, Paul, was my favourite. I don't know what yours was.
Nice. Yeah, I'd probably say the same as well, because it was more kind of visceral, whereas the one with the teddy bear, I found the couple quite annoying.
I mean, see, to be honest as well, having the teddy bear analogy, that would be annoying. Just that way it was. That would be really annoying, in fact. So I don't know if I just found that annoying as well as them. I just didn't get on board with that story. And then the last one, Colin's favourite. Why was that your favourite?
To be honest, Black Museum wasn't one I got around to rewatching, so I've only got kind of vague memories and a rough outline. But I just remember that episode being absolutely brutal at the end. Like I feel like the ending was pretty horrific. That's the kind of one.
Right, well, we'll leave it now then.
So my number 10, another one I didn't get to rewatch. I think a lot of it in terms of the rewatch was the episode length. Trying to fit them in wasn't as easy as like a 40-minute episode. So I just like the concept and the kind of genre of this one. I went for USS Callister.
Right.
Because I liked the concept of it being a video game, and then they had like the clones of the people, which was similar. Was that not similar to a bit in Christmas with the kind of clones? Sort of.
Like Christmas.
Kind of when they got a virtual copy of themselves.
Yeah. So it was like copies of them, and it was Christina Milioti from
How About Your Mother.
How About Your Mother, yeah. And the guy, is it Plemons, is it, from Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So it was a good cast. I liked the kind of sci-fi nature of it, and I liked the fact it was kind of espionage, that they were trying to steal the game and get rid of the game. So I don't obviously remember it as well as ones I've rewatched recently, but I remember enjoying it. So, Paul, you saw that one, so what was your
Yeah, I
thoughts
just
on
seen it. I seen it today. Yeah, it was quite a weird one because it starts off kind of like a fun, happy kind of TV show, and then it just turns out this guy is pure sadistic as anything, and it's quite funny to see him in real life where he's like a kind of loser.
that?
Nobody speaks to, but you can see he's a bit creepy.
Yeah.
And then the power he wields in the game, which kind of leads to his downfall. But yeah, I really.
You're muted.
Sorry, my trigger finger.
We're lip reading the.
Yeah, so yeah, I really enjoyed that one this morning as well. So
Cool. So, James, what was your number 9 then?
Number 9 was 15 million merits. And I gave that a 7 out of 10 as well. I really enjoyed this one. It says it's number 9. I really enjoyed it. But I think because it was the second episode of the first season, and it kind of gave you a wee bit of, I don't know, it kind of gave you a wee bit of how technology. That was that released in 2011? Was it that episode? I can't remember.
That's when Black Mirror started, so it probably was, yeah.
So I mean, looking at it, and then after I watched it, I think looking at it now, I think that technology 2011, that it could happen. I mean, that whole the hot shots, is mimicking the X Factor and whatever. That stuff happens now, and the fact that people were cycling to get to make a living, essentially. What they did was everything they wanted to buy, they had to cycle for it, and then if they wanted to try and make it out with this environment that they're in, they had to, basically get out of there, and they had to go into the hot shot and whatever they were to do the song, dance, whatever it may be, to get out of there. And to get that, they had to get 15 million merits to get there, and then it could be all for nothing. You know what I mean?
See the fake Simon Cowell? He actually looks like Simon Cowell looks like now.
Yeah. I was going to put him as my screen name actually, but I couldn't remember his name. So
I like the really desperate girl who was really wanting to get into being like a singer, and the blonde girl, and you saw her in, like,
the Scouser one.
Yeah,
I find her really annoying.
I can sing.
Daniel Kaluuya's monologue, though.
Aye, that was good.
Even though it was all for nothing because he sold his soul.
Yes.
It was quite a sad one, though, because you really did buy into his relationship that was building.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, can I just say, like, obviously, because like, it's dystopian and all that, like, this has been like the most depressing week of my life watching Black Mirror.
Aye.
I find it
It's pretty heavy.
You look outside and it's raining, it's murder, so it's been a bad week for you, mate.
I'm just watching it, I'm like, do any of these have happy endings? And it's like,
my number 9, conversely, was the national anthem. And I don't know, this one, it's such a weird intro. See, if you're like trying to get somebody to watch Black Mirror and the national anthem's their intro episode, like, it could quite easily scare some people off, but there's, I don't know, there's something quite nostalgic about the episode now.
I just see with Black Mirror, I never think about it, about just telling someone to watch an episode and then see what you think. I don't know, I always start from the very beginning of everything. So I start at season 1. I know it's an anthology, you don't really have to watch them in order, but they all have maybe links here and there with Easter eggs and stuff like that. So maybe National Anthem is the first episode isn't the best one to watch.
Because I watched it and I think I messaged you guys and I was just like, Jesus Christ, what the hell did I just watch?
Every episode is such a good cast list, though. Like one of the advisors to the Prime Minister was the guy that played Maester Luwin in Game of Thrones. Did you call him?
Yeah. And the Prime Minister himself, he's Tanner in the James Bond films.
Right.
Oh, hi.
Just throughout the show, there's just so many great actors, isn't there?
Yeah. Even that Black Museum one, the lassie in it's the one from Black Panther. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
See, like National Anthem, go back to your episode. It's not based on it as such, but it's kind of. I think it actually happened before all the news came out. But remember the news about David Cameron and all that sort of stuff.
Aye.
Obviously, allegedly. So, but that episode happened before. Cause I think Charlie Brooker said that he's like, "Oh, I didn't have any prior knowledge or anything." I'm like, "Oh, that's just so weird." But
I think that somebody could do something like that just because opinion polls says you should do it.
I know.
Some of the biggest characters in that episode were just the random people in the pub and the guy sitting in his hotel room and then the nurses just standing watching. So I did have what's that?
Sorry, Colin. What did you think at the end of that episode? I mean, because it seemed to everything's all rosy and they're back together again. They're in the public eye. They seem to be over this terrible ordeal, and then at the end of it, you can see in the Downing Street, as it was, that the Prime Minister and his wife kind of went their different ways in there, didn't they?
She's not. She's just there for the public display now. She's not. She's not going near him.
You could never go near somebody that did that, could you?
No.
That was awful. Like, just, I was watching that, I was just like, oh. And then even the people in the pubs that you could see were like, kind of like, why did we think this would be a good idea to watch this?
And then the wee twist as well was that the daughter, was it his daughter that was kidnapped?
No, it's a princess.
The princess. That was the princess. Sorry,
the Savannah.
The princess was released before the incident happened as well, which made it like it was off her.
And they were like, never tell him. Imagine you found that out.
I know, but the roads were absolutely empty because everybody was about to watch this. You know what I mean? That
it did really show the power of the press and social media as well. So I think it got its message across. That's one of my favorite parts of Black Mirror is when they get to the main message of the episode. So that was the national anthem, and number 8 for you, James, was
White Christmas.
Oh,
White Christmas. I think it's a really good episode, but I just think that there's better ones, and it's a shame that it ended up so down in the list. But this had John Hamm in it from Mad Men, so this is again the cast was brilliant. I don't know if White Christmas is one of the ones you watched, Paul, but I think it was really good.
It was, yeah.
Race Ball, Timothy's son.
Yeah, one of the Andes.
They're both called Andrew.
It was good. The technology. I think I don't know. I assume your reaction, Colin. It's higher up in your list.
How did you guess that?
It was the concept was brilliant. I thought. Do you know what I mean? Genuinely, when I watched it, I thought it was. There was some. I felt like it was what I was watching The Thing. Where it was somewhere in the Arctic, it was a wee outpost somewhere, and it was like the snow was outside. They can't go outside because the weather's that bad, and they're just talking to each other. And then slowly, he was slowly telling the stories how they got there. You can see that John Hamm's character was obviously a very tech savvy person, and then you can see that was an episode where the person was blocked. But they were blocked in real life. And I thought that, can you
So
imagine
cool.
that happening? You know, you get online, block somebody, and don't ever see them again. I mean, don't hear from them again, but actually doing it and not seeing the person. And then the way that he was blocked at the very end,
We just read silhouette.
the red silhouette, because that obviously told everybody that he was on that register. And it's like, holy, that's like everybody else is just blocked out grey, but he's on the special. He's on the special block list.
I rewatched some of it, but not all of it. Was that because of the kind of incident? The incident in the first tale.
Yeah.
So the incident in the first one, where basically he's basically a kind of guide. He tells them what to wear on dates and things, and then he's like, "Oh, make the move now, take her back to the apartment or whatever," and you know what I mean, tell him what to do. That wee voice that he said, and because the boy was murdered at the end of that, they found out about it, and even though I don't know, he was trying to obviously say, you know, wasn't he like that? But because of that scenario, he was basically on that register. He didn't kind of fess up to that murder happening, and he was just trying to cover it up, wasn't he? On a side note, see on that episode of White Christmas where they've got all the characters in the back, like in a Zoom call, and he's talking through them. One of the characters is called I Am Waldo as well. I don't know if it's the actual character's name, if it's actually the guy who played Waldo.
I am Waldo.
You are Waldo at the moment, yes. But the screen name was Waldo. But he's on that register. He had either red silhouette behind that, and then it kind of turned out a wee bit that he was also trapped because having tricking that person in that cottage who was in an infinite loop, in that wee kind of, was it a wee egg thing he had?
A wee cookie or something.
Cookie, it's called a cookie. That's right.
You like an infinite loop, don't you?
Who?
Sorry,
James is a computing teacher.
Oh right.
Cookie. Aye, we don't call them cookies over here, though. We call them biscuits. Bad computing joke, sorry. But so essentially, he was in a loop. He was trapped, and John Hamm's character is in a trap as well. So they essentially are both trapped in their own little worlds, which I found was a twist on its own.
Such a depressing one, that one, isn't it? With the story where the guy can't see his door and things like that.
Yeah, and it turns out it isn't his daughter. Jesus Christ, I know. But there's another depressing. I was watching that with Scarlett, and she was going, "What is this getting? Like, does it get any happier?" I'm like, "Nah, it doesn't." And even when John Hamm, like you're saying, John Hamm escaped, like gets away from the police, or like he's free, he's put in this register, and you can see people eyeing his red silhouette, thinking like, you know, like people would think, oh, he's like a pedo or something, like kind of thing. It's like looking to do him harm, kind of thing. And it's like, how could you love that? That blocking thing's a terrifying concept.
I know.
Yes. So talking about terrifying concepts, my number 8, actually number 7 is also a terrifying concept, but around number 8, I went for The Entire History of You, which as a technology I think would cause so many issues in our society if you could like rewind, and Alien would be making me go back and casting up things I said like last Friday if I misquoted myself. But it just unravels. I like the concept of the technology, but it just unravels so much and is pretty extreme at the end. But I was listening to someone else's ranking on YouTube just to hear other people's thoughts, and they were saying that all the characters are so unlikable, and I didn't actually realize how much that was the case until I rewatched it. They're all pretty horrible people.
Yeah. No, I quite liked how the technology, like how he kind of sucks it up and takes it for a while, and then it just turns into pure obsession, and he's just like scanning every kind of pain of his memories to see if he can find like evidence of her indiscretions and that. Like, can you imagine just going through all your memories and just pinpointing wee things, wee glances, and just obsessing over it?
That's what overthinkers do anyway without the technology. Like, you think back to what you said 5 years ago or what you did last week. Do you know what I mean? So when people overthink, that's essentially what they're doing.
For this episode, it's spoiler alert, it's not on my list. I didn't actually like it. I understand why you like it and maybe why it's on your list of things. And for society, like you say, it would cause massive problems because, I mean, we are, essentially just hard drives, aren't we? Really, it's about how we make our data accessible. I mean, if you can store it away and always retrieve it, it'd be brilliant. And it has its pros and cons, like you've said there. But I don't know. I think as an episode, I think what I didn't like was the fact that I think the characters were very unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get I don't know, a closeness, lack of a better word. I didn't feel I was on the journey with them, with the rest of the characters. And I know for a fact when I've watched the first 10, 15 minutes of a Black Mirror episode that I'm going to hate it or love it. And I think this one, I just thought I could see myself just kind of tuning out of it, going on my phone and just not really caring what happens at the end. And when I rewatched it, I still felt myself doing the same. Tragedy, and it is, but I just don't think, I don't know, I liked it that much to even give it a special mention that I'm going to give it at the end of it.
I thought it was it felt quite, I don't know, I found it quite watchable because it was kind of soap opera-esque, like it was just like pure drama the whole way through.
Aye.
Not that I watched.
Maybe if I didn't like it.
You need to have some data back.
Not that I watch soaps. I don't actually watch soaps. So.
Well, like there's no data back in it. If you, like, because you're saying like nobody's really likable. Like the guy turned into a right diddy because he was obsessed. The woman was dead shifty. That Jonas guy was just being flashy. All his pals were just like, yeah. It wasn't that great. I think it was just. I found myself at the end of that going like, there's another one. Pure uplifting.
It was one of the ones I actually feel like I remembered better overall. Anyway, so
Jodie Whittaker was in that episode as well, the doctor, or the previous doctor.
She was, aye.
Yeah. My number 7, Colin, you want that?
Because we're at the rate we're going tonight, we're going to end
You're okay.
We're going to end up the length of White Christmas.
I did think this would happen. My number 7 is Hated the Nation. Hated in the Nation. Sorry.
That's an outlier.
Yeah, so that was.
Is that the one with the bees?
Yes, aye. I actually forgot how much I liked this episode. I thought it was really good. The concept of everybody on the hashtag on Twitter or on social media was like just hating the person, and you get that all the time. But in this case, it was like the person who's going to get the most hates using this hashtag is going to get killed, essentially, and how they get killed, no one knew. And the only downside to this episode, it was far too long, I thought.
That's the one that's like a full-length movie, isn't it?
It's an hour and a half long. So it is. But I actually quite enjoyed it. It's got what's her name from Trainspotting in it as well, in Line of Duty. Is it Kelly MacDonald? Is that her name?
Can't remember.
Paul's not seen this one, I don't think, have you, Paul?
No, that wasn't on the recommended last you gave me.
So essentially what it was, it's like kind of killer bees. It was like drones. So they realised that the bees were becoming extinct and they had to save the planet. And in order to save the planet, they had to basically kind of make these robot bees that pollinated the planet, essentially. Oh. And they had hives doing the same job as bees. But some guy hacked into the hive and took control of bees. And the bee would basically crawl into the person's brain and kill them.
Sounds a bit ridiculous, doesn't it?
It does. I mean,
this sounds right up my alley, by the way. Why did you tell me not to watch this, Colin?
Paul, do you think you'll watch after this the ones you haven't seen?
I think so. I'm quite interested in it now because, like, have you ever watched that show on Netflix, Love, Death and Robots?
No.
It's like basically animated Black Mirror.
All right. What's that called?
Love, Death and Robots. There's 2 seasons of it. It's all different animation styles.
Send me a link to that later.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
I've got a wee note on this one as well. So there was a person's name that was kind of linked in this in a TV show or a news bulletin, and it was Ian Rannoch. The Ian Rannoch, I don't know if you remember, was the guy who was the suspect. Not suspect. He was the committed murderer of the child in White Bear.
Oh yeah.
So that was a kind of Easter egg and a wee link to that episode as well.
Oh, is that not a planet in USS Callister as well?
Aye.
Rannoch B or something, or Rannoch 2?
Yes.
You're good with Easter eggs, Paul.
Oh. We also go to Scalane 4, and that's the woman murderer.
That's right. So aye.
Oh well. Right. So my number 7 was one James has already mentioned, and it was 15 Million Merits, which I actually enjoyed more on the rewatch than I remember enjoying it the first time. And a big part of it for me is Daniel Kaluuya's performance and his big speech at the end. I think it is a wee bit slow, as Paul we discussed, but I think it actually builds quite nicely, and you get to know the character and their motivations and the relationships, and it's just pretty brutal, and it really reflects society and the way people become rich and famous nowadays. So I think it is pretty enjoyable. I don't know if enjoyable is the right word, but a very thought-provoking episode with quite a horrible end. It doesn't really explain where they are. Are they just in... Does everybody just live in that one facility, or is that just like...
I think there's various...
Are they just powering society somewhere else, or are they just powering... What are they powering?
They're powering the place in Andor.
I think there's various facilities like that, and they all tune into the hot shot at the end. You know what I mean? At the end of the week, whatever, the day, whatever it is, and they can all...
It's pure gross. So see, like they're watching the TV, and it's like, was it Buster Guts or something? And they're like torturing fat people and things. And there's that one guy on the bike just being horrible to everyone.
I know, he was horrible. He was horrible to the cleaner, wasn't he? Quite often.
Yeah. And I struggled at the start of this episode because it was just like it was pretty slow and mundane, and like nothing was really happening. But I think that was just to show that's what society was like for him.
Aye.
But once you got going, it was really good.
I thought it was beautiful in a sense that the way that the guy was able to give her all the credits. He wouldn't let her pay for food or anything along those lines. You know what I mean? It was all, I'm going to get all this and I want you to be successful. He didn't really care about anything else. Or, you know what I mean? That was nice. And then obviously it all we went south quite quickly for him and her. She didn't want to do what she ended up doing, but it was her only get out at the time.
I love you. I love watching you and Paul cast around for non-swear word versions of swear words.
Well, Colin, I'm very I'm trying to, because I could swear quite easily, but I know it's a family show, and I know how much you like to have a show that doesn't have any swearing in it. So
I'm sure you're the same.
I'm trying to honour the integrity of your show here.
Man in your position. Anyway, we'll do our number 6s, and then Paul can jump in for the last 5.
Yeah, number 6.
To be fair, I think my 5, like it's probably going to be like in your lists anyway. So I think we should just do your top 10s, and I'll just kind of talk with you kind of thing, because I think adding another 5 in might add too long to the show, and I don't have a top 5. Just doesn't help.
Yep. Number 6 is Hang the DJ. Hang the DJ was one that it was like an app you had, so quite like kind of Tinder or something along those lines. And although you weren't actually physically in control of the person that you wanted to date, it paired you with people that you might get on with based on the attributes that you've got. And I found this episode to be a happy. I don't know if it's one of the ones you watch, Paul, but this is one of the more happier ones, I would say.
No, I missed that one. Go and give me the depressing ones.
Sorry, Paul. What Paul's seen is basically a massive spoiler alert for what I've got in my ranking.
See if I thought about that anyway. So Hang the DJ was basically. So what happens in that, Paul, is this boy and girl get paired up together, and whenever they meet up with someone, they've got a wee app, and they've got to tap the app at the same time, and it gives them an expiration date. So it could be 2 hours, it could be 5 hours, it could be 6 years,
Really?
and they've got to tap it at the same time in order to find it out. And the couple found out it was like maybe, I don't know, 12 hours or something like that they had to spend together, and they really connected. And after the 12 hours, you've got to move on to the next partner. There's no other, you cannot do it. You've got to. And it turns out that they go through so many partners and go through so many bad relationships. All they want to do is basically meet back up with each other. And they do meet each other again, but they're with other people. And it just shows how much they miss each other. And essentially, is this on your list, Colin?
I can't say.
Essentially, they meet each other and they break the system to be with each other without going into too much depth. And you kind of get a realization of what the system is. I don't know, Colin, if you can maybe chip into what you remember from that episode.
I more just remember the general concept of the expiration dates and the people desperate to get back together. I can remember it visually. I can remember like the locations and that, but not as much of the story. So it wasn't one that I managed to rewatch that time around.
Aye. But is it actually...
Sounds a bit better than Tinder.
Aye, I mean, you could end up with someone for 10 years and not like them.
Right. I suppose I didn't think about it that
way. And you have nothing in common whatsoever, and that's what happens to this couple. They're just kind of stuck in this relationship, and they stay in. They stay in a wee pod as well.
Right.
And then when they leave, when the expiration date comes to 0 days, 0 hours, they leave the pod, and then they've got to go back to where they were, and then it's up to the computer to tell them they found another match. And it tells them they found the forever match as well.
Oh, right.
They've got to be with them forever. There's no expiration date to that point. So
is this a mandatory thing? It's like they can. Yeah.
Yes. And just kind of while I'm on it, so before you're paired with your forever match, you get to kind of see the one person again that you've seen before. And she picks this pair. She picks the guy to go and see them, and that's when they kind of meet up and say, "Stuff this! I'm going to go and we're going to try and get out of this and break the system."
Is there any penalties for not following the rules?
Aye, I mean the penalties are basically you're trying to get the security. You don't know at the time, so they go and they try to leave the restaurant and they meet up, and there's like security there that stop them, but it's just a way to scare them. They don't actually do anything. They don't take you down and beat you up or anything along those lines. It's just to put you back in place. Like we're here, we can
intimidation.
Yeah, so it's an intimidation strategy, but they realise that, and then they escape.
Nice.
I remember it quite clearly now you're talking about it.
That's the beauty of a rewatch, though. What I mean,
because I didn't get the time to rewatch them all, which was my own fault. My ranking might be different if I had rewatched them all, if that makes sense. I just rewatched the ones I remember being my favourites. So my number 6 was one that I know Paul's seen. I rewatched it on Saturday night. The lead actress is a great actress and also a great director. Really unbearable, but the very close to real life Nosedive. It's so like it's just like basically what the world is like, but in a slightly different way. So we don't see people's ratings, but people are rating each other on social media. People do judge their life and their happiness by the amount of followers and likes they've got. And she goes completely mental at the end. I forgot about that scene in the prison where she's just screaming and she trashes the wedding. She's quite annoying as a character, as I said. Great actress, directed some of the Mandalorian, etc. As well. But what did you guys think of Nosedive?
I'll let Paul go first.
Well, this is one of the ones I think Colin was kind of more pushing me towards to watch, I think. And yeah, it's scary how kind of close to real life it kind of is. Like you're saying, like even us as a podcast, we judge ourselves kind of by like how many followers we've got, how many views we get, what people rate us, kind of thing. And if it's not very good, then you feel kind of like you feel like your opportunities are limited. Whereas if you get more growth, your opportunities kind of blossom. So it's quite a profound kind of episode. But yeah, you can imagine the way she spirals down and gets uninvited from the wedding and all that. You can just see the madness going through it. But what ratings do you think you boys would be at right now?
So what was she aiming for? Was she not aiming to be like a 4.5?
A 4.5, so she could get a discount on her
mortgage
flat that she was getting.
Aye. Was it out of 5 though? Was it out of 5?
Out of 5.
Aye.
Out of 5. I think she ended up like a 1.1 or something at the wedding.
Aye.
I give myself a 3.
Middle of the road.
I don't know. I consider myself pretty likeable, to be honest. I don't know. I'll say maybe. I'll go with 4.
I've just downvoted you, so you're now.
There you go. I'll go with 4. I don't know. That episode was I think for me it was a really like a real reflection on society and how we go about our daily lives. I actually found the episode heartbreaking. So I didn't really like it in terms. Well, I liked the episode, but the way that the character went downhill and you see it in how much being liked meant to her. And that's true to society. You discussed it in the podcast, but I'm thinking maybe younger people. How many times do they go and just put a post on social media in order to get likes, to be attention seeking? How many times do they put pictures on just to see how many people comment on it? Because they measure how many people like to comment is how many people like them. Do you know what I mean? And in reality, these people don't even speak to them in real life. You know, we friends and whatever. You know, but I say this in my classes as well. Having 5,000 people as your friend on Facebook or on whatever other social media there is no one has that amount of people, that many friends.
No.
So why do you have them? It's just to raise your profile. It's just to try and be liked, and this probably taps into maybe the 15 million merits as well, because it's getting yourself out there. Because they think being on social media is going to get you famous, or get your profiles being a 4.5 is going to get you famous. People will like you. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't imagine going through life and wanting people to rate me, because, well, I don't think I consider myself quite likable, but I can be quite crabby sometimes. You know that way, and I'm like, nah. If I'm crabby to that one person, then they're just going to give me a 1. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to.
That speech was almost as good as Daniel Kaluuya's in 15 Million Merits.
I know.
Yeah, by the way, see her speech. That's my speech in your wedding's going to be like. I'm going to be like tears, makeup running. Colin's a bitch.
You have to. Make sure you go round the table as well, so no one catches you. You've got to do that.
Yeah. And then to try and catch her, I'll grab a knife.
It's certainly a Certainly a memorable episode, I would say, that one.
And I totally forgot about the bit at the end in the prison as well, or the jail, where when she's shouting the guy across. I completely forgot about that one.
I love the truck driver that was offering her whiskey and things like that.
Yes, she was she's in quite a lot of stuff. She's in The President in 24 in the season maybe 6 or something like that.
Oh, well, it's only taken us the hour to get onto the bottom of the top
Yes.
5. So schools awaiting, James. Number 5 for yourself.
Number 5 is Be Right Back. And Be Right Back, I went to assume that Colin told you to watch this one, Paul.
He did.
If things could get weirder, Be Right Back is that. Heartbreaking at the start, I would say. It's horrible, you know. But then to have that the voice coming through when she loses her boyfriend or a fiance or something, isn't it? And then she realizes that there's a wee app out there that you can mimic the voice, and she's a phone call from this guy. Can't remember the guy's name now. Irish boy.
Ash.
Oh, his name Ash, but it's Domino Gleeson.
Aye, that's right. So talking to Ash on the phone, I mean, it wasn't weird as it is. So that that was nice wee comfort for her. But then a wee delivery comes the next few days, and it's like like a doll that it then becomes Ash and AI, and then it just gets weirder from there.
See the bit when he walks outside and you think he's just going to walk away into the bushes, but the next morning he's just standing there and it's like, I can't go outside the radius.
That's right. He's as if he's got he's got one of those kind of tags on. You get like in Tesco, they're the shopping carts. You can't take them past a certain radius. So it won't budge. He's just standing there.
Yeah.
Peggy Carter, isn't it?
Aye. Hayley Atwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the humour was quite good in this one because
funny.
It'd be quite easy to have like obviously like the kind of robot version of him just be like kind of emotionless and like very robot like, but his humour, because he was taking it from his like former consciousness kind of thing, I thought it was really good just because he's dead sarky in that, and when he wasn't being sarky he was like, oh should I say this then, and
he's a good
I thought it was good.
He's a good actor. It had to be that way though.
Yeah.
Do you know what it ended me though, that last scene where they're just keeping him in the loft?
I know, but you only get to see his daughter on a birthday, and that's what happens, isn't it?
I remember, it reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons, Paul. It always goes back to The Simpsons, where Bart had his twin brother in the attic.
Oh, yeah. And he just like looks through the holes in the roof.
The scene that was heartbreaking, though, was the one at the cliff edge.
That's right.
He tried to kill himself.
And he wouldn't do it. Then he starts crying. Like 1 second he had no emotion, and then next he's just like going, "Don't do this to me."
Yeah. And if he'd done that, he would have saved the Republic because he wouldn't have got Starkiller base up and running.
He's a great actor, but yeah, Star Wars didn't use him particularly well. Anyway, number 5 for me was White Bear, which for most of the show, you don't have a clue what's going on. For me, the reason this is on my list really is because of the shocking revelation that she partook in the abduction and murder of a child, and the brutal scenes where they take her through the town and everyone, like people are buying tickets to come in and watch her go through this same cycle over and over again. It reminds you a bit of the end of White Christmas, where they're just there for.
That's right. Aye.
In the loop, so there's a connection with that, but because you just literally don't know what's happening the whole episode. I thought the ending was just so shocking, and just the way they were. I don't know, just it brought up a lot of like questions. It was like, obviously she did unspeakable things, but people are going in to watch her getting tortured for days on end. So there's a lot of questions of morality in that one.
Aye, I mean I've got quite a few notes on that one, but so White Bear was, I mean, like you, had no idea what was going on. She woke up and she was getting videoed by people, and then these guys turn up with balaclavas and like they're like trying to shoot her and stuff like that and kill her. And why is this happening? We don't know. So you're actually you feel sorry for her. You're on her side. And then the revelation is that she was a participant in that murder, but she was taking videos of it, and she obviously she put it on social media or whatever it was on her phone, and that's why in the theme park they want her to feel that way that girl felt, to be scared, and you know what I mean. So it was, and then at the end of the episode, you're like, well, do you feel sorry for her now, or do you agree what's happening? You don't know you're on the fence.
I don't think you feel sorry for her, but you just feel that what everyone else is doing is a wee bit questionable as well.
I don't feel sorry for her. I mean, feel sorry for the situation that has occurred. Do you mean I don't think that it's right to have someone? It's like being in a zoo, and you're just trying to chase a helpless animal or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
She's literally reset every time, so she doesn't even have a memory of it happening again and again.
And to be fair, she acts it really well as well. Like, you know, like when she's like going through the pain of the memory, like the acting's really good. Like you can like feel her pain.
Did you see who was in it? Tyres from Spaced and The World's End. Have you seen Space, James?
Yeah.
Do you remember Tyre?
Who's that again?
He was the guy that just jumped about nuts on his bike with the bleached blonde hair. Michael Smiley's his name, I think. He was the guy like hosting the showcase essentially.
Oh, he's in Luther. He's Benny in Luther.
He's in The World's End as well. He plays the. Is it like the
Billy?
He's in The World's End. I can't remember what the character is called. He's Tyres from Spaced. The Irish actor.
Yeah. Aye, the one with the balaclava.
Aye.
Yeah. Aye, because I was like totally lost when I watched this. I was like, what is this symbol all about? Why is there certain people that are just trying to kill her when there's like other people with cameras, and there's like a woman with like an electric knife and a bunny mask trying to chase him as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Had a bit of a Glass Onion twist, didn't it? Because you saw it later on from like the extras point of view and like the different perspective.
Yeah. Behind the scenes sort of stuff.
I found it quite funny when they're going through the rules at the end, like, don't speak to her, but most importantly, enjoy yourselves.
Have fun.
Have fun.
I've wrote some notes on this, and I didn't first watching it. You get no idea why they've got the white bear. Why is that the title of the episode? Because I was like, white bear kind of suggests if you say a bear, it's a bear's a good thing, isn't it? Like it's a nice, it's cozy, whatever. But then it turns out that the bear was actually the girl's, and it was part of her possession, wasn't it? When they murdered her. But
yeah. Is that what the park's called? Is that what the park was called? Like White Bear Justice Park or something?
Yeah, white.
This shows very uplifting.
This is the first episode as well. Maybe I could be wrong here. That actually has the symbol on the boy's balaclava.
Yeah,
and that symbol
and appears TV and stuff.
That symbol appears throughout the whole show. Well, not the whole show, not every episode, but here and there. Like it's in Bandersnatch as well. When we watched that.
All right. I need to keep a lookout for that because I've not seen it, and I might have just missed them in the other episodes that I've been watching.
It's kind of subtle, like on posters and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
So what was up for number 4?
Number 4 was Shut Up and Dance.
Yes, I remember it.
Shut Up and Dance. Was that one of the ones that Paul watched?
I've not seen that one. No.
Oh, no. Shut Up and Dance was basically it's like a young lad who seems quite normal, and basically, he's has a job and things like that. But he comes home and gets a laptop out. I'm going to try and be as nice as possibly can here, Colin, with this episode. Gets laptop out, and he, as young boys do, Paul, you get the laptop out and does things. I don't know, Colin, how I'm going to put this here, but he does things on the laptop. And later on, he gets messages on his laptop to say that he's got kind of malware installed on it. And he's like, oh no, I need to get rid of the malware. So he tries to get rid of the malware.
Those bloody pop-ups.
It's pop-ups. This is what comes up. So he thinks to get rid of it, but then he gets a message from someone, and you can see from the point of view that they're watching him through the camera on the laptop, and it's like, you're going to we've seen what you did, and you're going to do these for all these steps, so we don't put it out there on the internet, so no one finds you, or no one kind of sees what you've done. So he's obviously panicking. He's going on, no, he gives him the phone number. And the only way I can describe this is he kind of goes on in a mission. Everything he does has a consequence. So everything he does, it's like Die Hard with a Vengeance, where the Simon tells him to go and do a task. And then after you've done that task, you've got something else to go and do. She's jumping through his hoops.
Yeah.
You've seen Die Hard, haven't you?
Oh, I have. Colin hasn't.
I have.
Oh, the third one.
The third one.
I've seen the first two.
The third one is like basically puzzles and stuff like that, right? So he's got to go and do these kind of jump through these hoops, so that these people who are watching him to kind of, so he doesn't put this video out on them. And he then has to, he meets people who are in a similar situation as him, with the same people. And it's the boy from Game of Thrones, isn't it? Jerome from Robson Jerome was his name in Game of Thrones.
Ron, yeah.
Bronn it is. So Bronn he's extremely funny in that episode. He's like the kind of comedy value, but
he's really funny in every episode.
So these people have got stuff on Bronn as well, or the character's name, I can't remember his name now, and they've got to jump through these hoops so they've got to rob banks and stuff like that. It's like crazy stuff, do you know what I mean? So that they can basically that they're kind of getting their humour out of it all. And basically at the end of it, it's like a fight to the death with someone.
You could avoid telling Paul the very end, and you can get that bit.
I won't tell, because I'm wondering it's going to be on your list. I reckon it will be, and we can maybe talk about it in your list. So on that, so right. So
my number 4 has already came up. My number 4 was Black Museum.
All right, 4. Wow.
Which I didn't get round to rewatching it, but it wasn't because I didn't want to rewatch it. It just stuck in my head as I remembered the culmination of that's a good word, 3 episodes being really just absolutely brutal and just absolutely horrific. And I don't know what that says about me, but it's just one of those episodes that I just always remember the first time I watched it and being like, whoa, I did not see that coming. And I like the episodes that have, and a few episodes of Black Mirror have this, but it's like different stories that converge into one at the end. I quite like that structure of an episode. So yeah, you've spoken about it earlier, and obviously it's got all the Easter eggs, etc. as well. But it was one that I enjoyed, not because it's fun or because it's nice, but because it's Black Mirror.
Yeah, I think that we didn't really speak about it. I don't think it was my number 10. I didn't really speak about it, but it was the actual twist at the end where the guy getting executed was her father.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as she was driving away, she said to the mirror, "Is that okay, Mum?" or something.
Aye.
And then it went back to the mum was, the bear or something. She wasn't the bear, but she was like the voyeur.
She's implanted in her head like the teddy bear, the women in the teddy bear. Yeah.
It's a wee bit like a show I watched called, it was a Netflix show, Behind Her Eyes. It was all about the transferring of consciousness.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Never seen it.
It's worth a watch.
It rings a bell, but I don't know if I've seen it.
Behind Her Eyes, it was called.
I see that whole Black Museum episode to like, seeing us watching it and like, you know, the guy's like looking through her stuff and like takes her water bottle and things. I was thinking that the curator was going to do something to the lassie. I didn't realise until the end that it was the other way about, that she was going to do it to him.
I don't think that was. It was surprised me that I didn't expect that. I always thought there's something strange going with this curator because he's sweating and he's asking for water quite a lot. But
and he seems right into telling these stories of pain and agony. He was getting like really excited when he was talking about the like executing the guy all the time. He was getting like, oh, that agonizing pain, and he was like so happy.
Yeah,
really weird.
He ends up in like a wee model of the execution, doesn't he? Like a souvenir.
Keychain, yeah, he's in the keychain.
Yeah. So yeah, that one just stood out to me because of the absolutely shocking ending.
Aye.
I don't even mean that. Right,
Did you know?
No, I didn't mean that. That'd been good. So number 3, James, we're into the automatic. Is it the automatic Champions League spots? I can't remember what the rules are.
White Bear. So I spoke about White Bear's in my number 3 in the list. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, I've spoken about it in good detail so far, but I think for me, it brought up that whole the ending of it was like, wow, like I didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know which one I can say about it. What we've discussed already, but I just thought it was a really good episode. And I don't know, like I just thought that the whole concept was interesting. You know what I mean? Like, why were they? You always found yourself like, why questioning why you were doing it? Why were they doing that? How come these folk have no, like, questioning why there's people running about after with guns?
Mm-hmm.
And what I also thought interesting as well, and this only happened in the rewatch. See when she went into the shop, when she was like kind of hiding and all that sort of stuff, and she met the other people. The guy with the gun could have easily shot the glass and came in and got her. But he decided just to bind the windows. Why would he have done that? In hindsight, it's because obviously it's a game show. Not a game show, it's an amusement park. I mean, it's to prolong the terror. You find out why she's getting chased, and I found that quite shocking. So, to be fair, I think my number 4 and 3 I could have easily switched around for the endings of it.
To say, because some of the episodes only like Black Mirror and White Bear. If it wasn't for the shocking twist, would it be on your list? But I suppose you do view it differently when you view it back.
Yeah,
it's quite.
Sorry, there you go.
No, I was saying they've all got shocking twists, so I don't know if that question's kind of,
some more than others, though.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's.
You can just see the people's like kind of morbid curiosity getting the better of them and going to something like that, or like we go to zoos and stuff like that, obviously, and like, could you see yourself going to see a convicted murderer in like a kind of reality setting?
I wouldn't be there though.
No.
But you could imagine other people would be right up for that.
Oh, I can think of a few people that would.
Yeah.
Right. My number 3 is Be Right Back.
Right.
I'm a big fan of that episode. The first time I watched it, I found it really, really, really sad. That reminded me of, what did that remind me of? It's what film is that from? It's like really, really, really sad. What was that from? Oh, it's going to annoy me now.
Titanic.
No.
I've got no idea.
It's really, really. Oh, it'll come to me right at the end. Okay. Anyway, I found it really depressing the first time, but obviously I liked the story and found it weird. But I found it funnier this time. When I did the rewatch, it felt more. I think just I didn't want to be down that night, so I kind of viewed it more as like a comedy, like a fish out of water comedy, which it kind of plays better as.
Yeah, because like, what's it? He's like, I can't leave 24 meters from my activation point, and then she's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Well, this may be a shock to you, but I was activated in the bath, so I can't leave 24 meters from the bath."
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, that's annoying me now. I can't think what that quote was from.
Is it ER?
No. Oh man, that's me for the night now. I'm out. Right, so Be Right Back was third. Second, there's a episode that nobody's mentioned yet, and it must be 2 or 1.
So
James probably knows what I'm talking about.
yeah, my number 2, and I suspect it probably will be your number 1, is San Junipero.
And my number 2 is San Junipero too.
Oh, that means then we've got 2 number 1 split of elimination and what you've said so far. Our number 1s are different, so this is interesting.
I'm gonna guess that yours is.
Don't guess. Let's talk about San Junipero first time, because this is the first common denominator, isn't it?
Colin always loves to jump the gun and try and figure out who's got what.
This is the first time we've got the same episode on the number, though.
Yeah, and as I said at the very start, it's the first ever episode I watched, so it's got that kind of emotional attachment to it as well.
Aye, and I didn't really like the episode at first viewing. No, it's my number 2, but at first viewing, I found it difficult to get in there. But then I watched it again and again, and a rewatch. So I actually really liked it. And it's one of the more happier ones.
Yeah,
it's a really like cool kind of comforting concept that you could like place yourself, so you can just go and like go out with your pals like when you're older, when you're no longer with us.
Aye, I noticed. I took a wee bit of notice about the music on this episode. It kind of symbolises human connection. This is my film skill coming back to this here. It symbolises human connection because the first song it played was "I Need You Tonight." I think it's In Excess. It was on that, and then the last song that played was "Heaven is like a place on earth."
Yes, that's the song I associate with it.
So I wrote here, that's what it feels like to them. That you know, no, in fact, it opens and closes with the. No, it doesn't open with "I Need You Tonight." It opens with "Heaven is a place on earth," it's like a place on earth, and it closes with that because that's how it felt to them. That is to them, that's their heaven, and they met one another. That's their heaven. But "I Need You Tonight" is played through one of the meetings that they in the club. And it kind of symbolised the connection between the two of them.
I think it also, you didn't, for like the first half of the episode, like a lot of the episodes, you don't actually really know what's going on at first. You think they're just like on a night out, and then obviously as it unravels, you find out what's happening.
Yeah, I was so confused. See, when she met the kind of guy that Kelly was kicking about with, and she's like, "Oh yeah, she could be in the 80s and 90s or 2002," and I was going, "What?"
Aye.
How sad was that bit though when she goes to see her when she's older though?
I know.
That's the kind of bits that break me. That's like when Grogu says goodbye to Mando.
Yes. So this was a bit of a utopia rather than a dystopia, though, wasn't it? I think the concept was obviously technology and whatever, but I think it was it was more utopia than dystopia. This episode, than it was one of the happier ones.
What made it move? What made it move from one you didn't like to one that you really like?
I think it was because I didn't really know what was going on that way. And it goes back to what I said. It's kind of halfway through the episode here. That was like, I know for like watching the first 10, 15 minutes, I'm not going to like it. And then I just get distracted. But then I rewatched it again, like back ages ago. And then you just have to stick with it. Because it got to the point where I thought, other people who I spoke to, who like Black Mirror, like this episode. how come I don't like it? I didn't give it a chance. So I went back, gave it the chance, and yes, it's became my number 2.
Paul gets really distracted too. When he's watching.
Paul, do you
always
watch
get
this one?
Was that sorry?
Aye.
I did watch this one, yeah.
You did.
As I'd heard, it's kind of, like you sometimes you get like Twitter notifications, and somebody had actually talked about San Junipero without any context, and I was like, oh, that's an episode of Black Mirror, and yeah, I remember Colin talking about it as well, because I think he said that was the first one I'd watched.
Critically acclaimed.
Yeah, and I think it's the only one I've seen that's actually had a positive outcome at the end, even though it involves everybody dying.
B-Ray Bat was kind of happy at the end.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
But yeah, I liked the music in that and the kind of style of this one. Because I think up to this point was most of it kind of like British set, and then this one was like mostly American.
They did change the style quite a lot because I think the creator was on to the fact it was quite depressing and wanted to have a bit more variety and a bit more cheeriness as it went on.
So you're like, I will have 1 in 10 that are actually cheery.
I think they do get more kind of light-hearted and upbeat as they go on, like as you go through the seasons. You watched a lot of season 1 to 3.
Yeah, but I thought the acting, like again, like most of the acting is pretty solid through the whole series, but like, I liked the acting in this because you could kind of feel the connection between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously when they're having the wee conflicts about like living or dying kind of thing, it's quite a kind of harrowing subject to talk about, but
yeah,
it was quite nice. It was quite nice, but
let's not get into a debate on the afterlife, but that'd be a pretty cool thing if you could just plug yourself in to go for a night out somewhere cool like that.
I can imagine me being that guy at the arcade, just kicking about the arcade all night. That'd be me.
Yeah.
Colin would be at the Quagmire with debauchery.
That's maybe why I liked it as well. It brought a bit of nostalgia to me. I mean, I didn't grow up in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, certainly, but I still played arcade machines and stuff. I went to, these places, and you kind of got a sense of, I don't know, I'd quite like to be there.
Aye.
I could see myself in that in that club. But aye, it was good. I enjoyed it. Eventually.
Is it sad that I'm still trying to think who said that? Really, very sad. I still can't remember where that quote came from.
Oh, and also in, what was it, the Black Museum, the doctor's hospital was called Saint was it?
I think I was going to say that. I forgot. I think the doctor's hospital is called something Junipero or something like that.
Saint Juniper or Saint Gennaro.
Aye, it's something along those lines that an Easter egg towards that. Aye,
we're officially the same length as Hated in the Nation.
And we could
I'm judging this podcast by what length of a Black Mirror episode it goes towards. So let's get on.
To be fair, like it's a 22 episode series, and you're ranking your top 10. It's going to take a wee while, so
yeah,
people know what to get into.
I know.
Right.
I think when it gets to a certain point in the night, you start counting back how many hours sleep you're going to get before work.
No,
I'm off tomorrow. You can talk all night about it. It's fine.
Number 1.
Right,
so
number 1.
Can we guess now whose number 1's what?
No, Colin.
I'm going to guess. I'll go first. I'll guess your number 1, Colin, is Hang the DJ.
Right, I'm going to guess your number 1 is... There isn't actually one on my shortlist that you've not mentioned that I think... So obviously one that is not on that list. Season 1's all been accounted for. Season... Give me the season it's in.
It's in the last season.
Is it Striking Vipers?
Sorry?
Striking Vipers?
No, sorry. It's in season 4. It's in. I'm telling rubbish. It's in season 4.
Metalhead.
My number 1, I kind of misled you a little bit with my name. Billy Bauer. Smithereens episode is not in my list. Although I do want to give it a mention because it's quite good. My number 1 is USS Callister.
Okay.
Nice.
That's quite nice. My number 10 is your number 1. Something quite symbolic about it. My number one was actually White Christmas.
All right. Aye. I mean, it's a good episode. I just thought there were others better and more possible dystopia than them. But USS
So
Callister.
I was going to say, why is USS Callister your number one? Games about
Basically because I quite like Star Trek, and it's very like Star Trek. And, I don't know. I just felt like a favoritism towards Star Trek. A little bit played towards it, I suppose. But I don't know. I thought the casting for this episode was brilliant. You can see that they did a big budget for this episode. I mean, the way that they shot it and stuff like that was brilliant. The concept of having, in his own little world, he was the boss, but he was also the boss in the other world as well. He just wasn't recognised for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was treated like crap. No one kind of respected him. He was the mastermind behind Infinity, but no one really respected him at all. And he was considered a geek, and no one likes the geeks, apart from Tracy McConaughey. Is that her name?
Apart from Alien.
She's not in the room anymore. Fun fact, you probably know it already. Jesse Plemons, who's he married to?
I don't know.
Kirsten Dunst.
Really?
Or they were. I don't know if they still are. They could have broken up, but yeah.
He's Jason punching.
I remember when I first watched USS Callister, I could have sworn it was Matt Damon. I was like, that's Matt Damon.
Ginger Matt Damon.
No, but it's a really good episode. Go back, I don't want to waste time. A good episode, good concept, and I don't know. I mean, I just really enjoyed it. You know, it was one that I couldn't take my eyes off because there was a lot of stuff happening in it, and I like the idea that they had to go back in and basically sneak to get the game away from him, and then he's essentially at the very end of it. He's the one trapped in the game.
And he's dead in real life, isn't he? Or he's like a vegetable in real life.
Aye. So he's vegetable in real life. He's trapped in the game. That's what he was doing to them, essentially. He was trapping them in the game.
Aye. And he can manipulate them any way he wanted to, couldn't he? He was turning them into aliens and stuff like that, and all horrible stuff. Nah.
Yeah. I like the way that as well, like Jesse, was his name? His name was Daly, wasn't it, in the actual episode? The way he spoke was kind of mimicked Captain Kirk a little bit as well. The way he spoke, he was all kind of wee things towards like that. There was a lot of noise to Star Trek, obviously, than the Starfleet kind of thing.
No, I really enjoyed that USS Callister. It was something a bit different and unexpected for me.
Aye.
And then, like, even though the ultimate goal of the crew were to like basically kill themselves to get them out of this purgatory kind of thing, and they end up being like NPCs in the bigger Infinity world, didn't they?
Aye.
Which was pretty gallus. But how weird was it when they dropped their trousers?
I know, Kendall style.
I remember that now, actually.
Jeez, oh.
Just slapping it.
I've written a few things here. It's theme of dictatorship. He sensed that he was socially awkward, but he was obviously powerful in his own world and things like that. I've written here, I can't remember why, but the Easter egg to playtest. Maybe I don't know why I've said that. Can't remember it now.
I didn't like playtest.
I did like it. I thought that it was a kind of good horror theme to it. But,
didn't like it that much then.
No, of course not. I also got as well the game at the very end of the episode when he's talking to it was can't remember her name now in the program. Jeez, oh, the woman from How I Met Your Mother. What's her name in the show?
Christina Milioti.
Aye, was her. The game at the end was the boy from Breaking Bad, Jesse Pinkman.
Was
Like,
it?
you,
So
like, yeah,
I was trying to figure out what his name was because I was like,
you better,
his
it's like,
voice
you
is so
better,
familiar.
it's him. I know that voice. But it's him.
Legend.
So a great episode. One I'll tend to go back in and rewatch quite often because it's just a good episode.
Now that the pressure's off to rewatch them, I probably still might watch a few that I fancy rewatching. So White Christmas, I essentially picked, I don't know, I just feel like the first time I watched them all, I felt like that was my favourite at the time. And that just kind of carried forward. And I do really like the kind of 3-episode structure and how it all came together at the end. And again, how it was so brutal, but also just the big twist that they are stuck inside the, what was it, like it wasn't like a snow globe, was it? Like,
It was a snow globe, because that's what
globe, yeah.
that's what he hit. That's what he hit the grandfather with. Killed him.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it was so. I feel kind of bad picking it as my favorite. It was so depressing, but it was interesting how they tied all the different together in the end, and pretty harrowing as well. But I suppose you don't go to Black Mirror for the happiness usually. So,
No.
so yeah, that was my number one. Although it could easily change if I sat down and did it again.
Yeah. Can I give wee shout outs to episodes? I want to give a wee shout out to Metalhead as well. I quite enjoyed that one. I liked the idea that it was shot in black and white, and you never really got to the reason why they were chased by Terminator dogs.
I couldn't get into that one at all. It just wasn't my thing.
No, I don't know, man. It was Paul watched Metalhead, I think, recently, but I think I like the idea of Terminator dogs kicking about, chasing people.
Yeah, because it's quite smart. I could just like track her through everything, which I'm amazed that anyone's actually survived that long, depending how long it's been. But yeah, it was pretty brutal. You can see the couple in the bed with like the shotgun.
Aye, that's right. But that's the top 10.
We've made it to the end. I think this is actually officially our longest podcast now, Paul.
Just give the people what they want. A nice long podcast for when they're driving.
Yeah, exactly. To make it even longer, Paul, have you got any podcast shout outs you want to give?
What I was listening to this week. Listening to the Wheel of Horror today. They were doing 8-Legged Freaks. You seen that film, Colin?
No.
David Arquette, isn't it?
Aye.
It's awful.
It's awful.
I remember seeing it
fun.
like when I was younger. I thought this is pretty good, but I rewatched it not too long ago. I guess a few years back now, right enough, but I thought, nah, it's awful.
Yeah, but I've not really been listening to much this week, podcast wise, just because I've been doing stuff in the house and that. I'll get back into it.
I picked out a couple of wee quotes from people that commented on our Black Mirror stuff. Obviously, James did as well, but he's here. So, somebody said, "Yeah," and it was made in 2011. Like we're talking about how it's close to real life now, and that was the "We Need a Road" podcast.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And Chat Tsunami said, "I watched it at uni and thought, don't tell me the whole show is about this." This was in relation to the national anthem. And somebody just wrote, "Just wait," because you said how depressing it was. That was a bits of time.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So that was a few wee comments from our Twitter people.
So see, out of all the tech that was kicking about in all these episodes, what ones do you think you would like to have in real life?
Like to have.
Yes.
Not the memory one from Entire History of You. That would be brutal. I'm a bad enough overthinker as it is.
I don't know. It's hard to.
I don't know if there's any I'd want to have. San Junipero.
Just to nip in and out of realities and whatever. I could do that.
Let's go back
and then when you die, you can carry on.
Yeah, I'll go for that one.
I'm gonna say the playtest episode, even though it wasn't in my ranking. I would quite like the playtest of being in a realistic kind of horror game. One that I don't die in. No, and don't end up like Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt Russell. But
He
I'd
was
like
the guy.
that.
He
I'd
was the
like to
actor from Captain
America.
Falcon and Falcon the Winter Soldier.
He's Captain America, isn't he? Aye. Or the new one. So I'd like to be part of a kind of real life kind of horror escape room type thing. I don't know if that's maybe what it was, but it was pretty good.
Nice.
Very
nice.
So she's just actually came in the room at this point, Paul. We've got our first official sponsor.
Excuse me, what?
We're not actually getting paid, but I decided to be a good team player. And if anyone's looking for some lovely wax melts in the lead up to Valentine's Day and people's birthdays, you can buy from Serenity Scents Candle Co. You get your orders in. That was actually my idea. I said to Aileen, do you want to be our sponsor? And then I was like, well, you don't need to pay me, but I'll promote them anyway. I tried to promote her earlier, but I posted something that said that the deal expired like last week. So I was like, I need to delete that. Start again. Yeah, we've got our first official sponsor.
So we've got a sponsor, but they don't give us money. Okay.
Yeah. Fine. She's gonna promote us on our candle page. We'll get those candle enthusiasts in.
Yeah.
Paul you get Aileen's friendship, and you should be pleased about that.
I'll take it.
So
I feel like I should have had that before the sponsorship deal.
He felt like he should have had that before the sponsorship deal. Right, we better do the wee plugs. So we're at Seismic Cinema, although we cheat because we talk about TV a lot, but still cinema. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, YouTube, where you can see our lovely faces, and you can also listen to us in audio on Anchor, Good Pods, Apple Pods, Amazon Music, Audible, and probably other places. Spotify mentioned last because they actually have video now, which is pretty cool. So you can watch the videos on there as well. Our next thing we're doing, Paul, we're doing the Night of the Undead. We've been asked to review a new film that's coming out on Blu-ray, and we're going to arrange to have them on and have a chat.
Very nice. Yeah, looking forward to that one. Bit different.
Yep. So I really have great gratitude to the people that have stayed with us to the hour and 42-minute mark. So make sure if you've done that, surely you would like, subscribe, share, and all the good things. And a big thank you to James for spending his evening with us and talking Black Mirror.
No, it's been great to be on. It's good to hear everyone's opinions as well, because this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. So it's been good to be on. Talk to you again, lads.
And your James's podcast will be coming in 2023.
That's the New Year's resolution. That's what I'm going to aim towards. I'll get you guys on.
Well, just give us a shout.
Any conceptual names yet?
Sorry?
Any conceptual names yet?
Nah, I don't know. I'm thinking might put something towards my favourite film, Big Trouble in Little China, something that's kind of towards that. But I don't know.
Nice. Love that film. We need to do that as our review, Colin. Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Why doesn't James do it as his first review, then have us on?
No pressure then. That's a good carrot and a string for me then. So
see if you're scared. See if you don't want to just do it yourself, then we're happy to just jump on and keep you company.
Maybe with somebody better and more high profile than us, Colin. Maybe think about
that. Don't know if I'll get that or not, but
talking about
better. We'll probably have Kurt Russell on as the first guest or something like
that. or Wyatt instead. Right, James is giving some big talk about remembering our sign-off line here.
Oh, I forgot about that. So to keep in line with Paul and things, and keep it in the way how you guys treat your podcast as a family show. It is the power of how technology can really fill things up.
Oh, he did the thing that you do, where you link the thing we're talking about into the end.
Yeah, that's what I said, to keep in line with the way Paul does.
All right.
Yeah.
I taught him well.
So the real slogan is the power of escapism.
Yes, you did it. You're hired.
Yes.
Right. Well, thank you both, and thanks everyone for checking out.
Thank you.
See you soon. Cheers.
Yes.